So Dire Avengers do appear to have made their way into the elite slot, and it appears that they have some genuinely dangerous shurikens on the go, with 3 shots at AP-2. Hello and welcome back to Warspets Tactics, where today we're looking at a few more leaked Eldar rules. As mentioned previously, quite a large amount of the Eldar codex does appear to have got out and about onto the internet, so let's take a look at another datasheet, this one for Dire Avengers. These boys in blue did appear to have a fair few rumoured changes already. First up, the idea that they might be moving from the troop slot to the elite slot, and they might well be getting 3-shot shuriken catapults. It certainly appears that both of those might well be true. At the moment in 9th edition, I'd say that Dire Avengers are one of the Eldar units that needs a bit of help. They're basically a cheap aspect warrior troop slot, and they have been troops for really quite a long time, known to be one of the most common aspect warriors out of any of them, and having large shrines on basically every craft world. Out of any of the aspect warriors, the Dire Avengers are perhaps the most flexible and least specialised, embodying Cain as the noble warrior, and often standing proudest at the centre of the battle line of the Eldari war hosts. Currently, I think they're kind of struggling for a role though, as are most of the Eldar troops, their main problems being that they're just a bit too fragile to really hold the battle line well, and for their points cost, they just don't really do all that much damage for a unit that's at least relatively easy to kill, with only light armour and 1 wound. It's left the Dire Avengers in a bit of a sad state of affairs, just small units jumping out of wave serpents to take objectives for the most part, and they haven't really even been able to out-damage Guardians point for point. It seems that Games Workshop are trying to shake things up a bit though, moving them to elites and getting a bit more damage. So it appears from the leaked datasheets that Eldar Dire Avengers are indeed becoming an elite's choice, at least at this version in the playtester codex, which of course we can't be absolutely 100% sure isn't going to change in some ways until the actual codex comes out, but it seems pretty likely that the broad strokes are going to be the same, with only some minor tweaks. Going from troops to elites is generally only going to be a bad thing for the unit in question. Troops just have unusual relevance within 40k as they get objectives secured and fill out some of the best detachments for getting command points. It means that you almost always want at least some of them, whereas if you're looking at elite choices, you're going to be comparing them against all the other damage dealers in the Eldar codex. I'm certainly not saying that they still can't be a great unit in the elite slot, but if they'd remained troops, then they'd basically be the same but better in my eyes. This new version of them appears to cost 12 points per model, that's 1 point more than they were previously, but as with really quite a lot of new updated units, Games Workshop seem to be going the approach of just upping their abilities as opposed to dropping their points, which I think kind of makes sense for the Eldar. They're not supposed to be a race that you just field in massive hordes. In any case, aside from the main Dire Avengers themselves, the only points cost upgrade that there seems to be is the Shimmer Shield, which costs an extra 5 points if you want to take one. All the other fancy Exarch kit appears to be free. Otherwise, the more generic things on their datasheet are that they have all the standard keywords you'd expect: core aspect warrior infantry. They do have the Craft World tag, so they'll be able to get their attribute, and they do appear to have the Strands of Fate special rule and also battle focus. Strands of Fate for subbing in some automatic 6s perhaps doesn't seem quite as relevant on these guys. Maybe could be good for a long advance if they really needed to get in range, but battle focus sounds like it absolutely would be great. A bit of move, shoot, move to jump out of cover and then fall back before the enemy can react is exactly what these boys in blue would enjoy. Their stat line appears to be movement 7 inches, weapon skill and ballistic skill 3+, strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, 2 attacks, leadership 8, a 4+ save, and a 5+ invul. Not really too much change there, the normal +1 attack to all the aspects that they seem to be getting, and likewise with that 5+ invul save, it will be really quite relevant on them with their lighter armour. The Exarch, as again seems standard, still hits on 3s and things, but they gain 2 wounds and 3 attacks instead. Kind of an interesting one with the Dire Avengers Exarch, as it does mean that you have the potential to tank some damage on him in a pinch. Wargear wise, the Dire Avengers are armed with their Avenger Shuriken catapults. They appear to get plasma grenades as well, though the profile isn't listed here. In any case, that Avenger Shuriken catapult does look pretty dangerous. It's 18 inches, assault 3, strength 4, AP-2, damage 1, and has that Shuriken special rule, the one that appears to make them AP-3 on rolls of a 6. I do wonder whether or not it's going to be AP-2 better or just AP-3 flat. It would actually make a difference for these guys, seeing as they're AP-2 base. Still though, that's a very solid gun profile. It's going to absolutely murder hordes of light infantry. Armies like Guards and Sisters of Battle are really not going to want to get shot by these. For a squad of 5, you kill around 6 or 7 Guardsmen, or around 4 or 5 Sisters of Battle on average. Maybe not quite so overwhelming against Space Marines. You take around 3 or 4 wounds off standard Tactical Marines, so they are going to fall up a bit short against heavy infantry. Certainly seems like a pretty decent gun though. It makes them feel a lot more like a fragile unit that can actually get things done, as opposed to a unit that's both easy to kill and doesn't really kill much themselves. The current profile is AP 0 with extra AP on 6s and only 2 shots. Against most targets with this, you're going to be doing something like double damage. The Exarch's weapons are interesting too. It seems that you're really disincentivized just to give your Exarch a standard shuriken catapult now. The extra gear besides the shimmer shield is free, so you may as well load him up with something fancy. It seems that the double down on shooting option still remains, wielding 2 shuriken catapults for 6 shots out of 1 model. I guess if he just went pure shooting, then that would up the damage in the previous calculations. Otherwise though, he can take a shuriken pistol and a dire sword or a power glaive, or then opt to swap out the shuriken pistol for a shimmer shield. The dire sword is a +1 strength weapon, where if the attack wounds the target, then it deals out 1 mortal wound, and the power glaive has the same profile as something like a mastercrafted power axe, strength +2, AP -2, and a flat damage of 2 as well. Out of the two, I think I'm more enthused by the power glaive to be honest. At least the damage 2 makes it somewhat of a threat to medium infantry. I feel like the dire sword is usually going to average you about 1 mortal wound, if that. Finally, that 5-point shimmer shield appears to give the bearer a 4+ invul, but just the bearer himself, not the rest of the squad, on this profile. I remember seeing previous rumours saying that he could give the shimmer shield save to the entire rest of the squad. I do wonder if that might be an Exarch power now, as opposed to just a locked datasheet ability. Finally, they do appear to have gained a special rule specific for 9th edition. If the squad contains an Exarch, then it can shoot while doing actions. Maybe that puts them a bit more in the role of maintaining the battle line. Not bad to have a unit that can go around hoovering up objectives while it also deals out a bit of anti-infantry fire. So that's the end of what appears to be on the datasheet, though of course there were those rumours from that advent calendar that so far appear to be pretty accurate. First up, that they somehow had a Bladestorm stratagem to shoot the squad twice. Their damage output's okay, though it's not exactly spectacular against anything but light infantry. Maybe something like a 2 CP stratagem to fire those shurikens twice could be quite reasonable. I don't feel like it's necessarily all that different from what the Space Marines get with their intercessors. In previous editions, I do remember that Bladestorm meant that you had to reload the next turn, so I guess it's always possible that you might be sacrificing your second round of shooting, and if so, I wouldn't be too surprised to see it as a 1 CP thing. Even if that is the case, it would be quite nice to front load the damage. Finally, just based on what those advent calendar rumours said, I wouldn't be too surprised to see something like an Exarch power to give the entire squad a 4+ invul. I think that'll make the shimmer shield a bit more worth it, and it's still not going to make them a super tanky unit. They are only toughness 3 after all. There was also a rumour that they might be able to get Obsec in some way. Again, that does feel like a points cost Exarch power could easily be an option for giving them that. Those bits are just completely speculation on my part though. So anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you're a Craft World player, would you be tempted to field Dire Avengers when they're in direct competition with their elite slot counterparts? Or is this going to send them the same way as a lot of units that sort of mimic troop slots and not really add up to too much on the table without enough damage? Look forward to hearing your thoughts down in the comments below. If you'd like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, or I'll certainly keep the regular uploads coming. I tend to post new things for 40k most days. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the videos on the channel, I would just like to mention that Auspex Tactics does have a Patreon page, and you can find that down in the video description below. Channel patrons do get a few advantages, including seeing certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things happen next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some really big model kits each month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support, then the link is down in the video description. In any case, an enormous thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.